Hey everybody, welcome to the demonstration video for QuikStrike Spread Builder. This is going to be a shorter video to really get through everything that's available in Spread Builder. It's going to probably take around 10 different videos of varied length. What we want to do here is just give you a little bit of an idea of what you're getting as part of the new Quick App Spread Builder subscription that's available for single item purchase along with this week in futures options report, as well as a few others coming down the pipeline. But we wanted to get this one out here so you have a pretty good idea of what's available. And I'm going to run through just building a spread and playing with it a little bit, but I'm not going to go into all the details. Just want to have you see what's available and how you can benefit from this fantastic tool that we have available as part of the suite of tools in QuikStrike. So let's get right to it. Once I've selected Spread Builder, I'm going to be dropped into the expiration selection window. If I check more than one, it's going to take me to the Calendar Builder version of Spread Builder, which is the same tool, but just sort of a shortcut version to get your calendar built more quickly than just going to the individual expirations. But we're going to stick with a single expiration, multiple strikes, and go from there. So I'm just going to select the June contract and the crude and hit OK, and it's going to take me to the page where everything starts. Let me explain what the page does first before we dive into creating a spread. So over here, you're going to see a little window. This is going to be a list of all the spreads that I've created in the past. Okay, this is everything that I created, and from here I can go to the list and I can edit it, delete it. I can export to XML if I want to send it to a friend, all kinds of neat stuff like that. There'll be some other functions coming here as well. This is the watch list. So when you build a spread, you can put it in the watch list as well. And this is just a shortcut to like a mini version of the P&L. So you see that it's a spread that's built and locked, and I'll explain that later. And it tells you, where everything is now, what the Greeks are, and what my P&L is since the inception date. So this is going to be a really useful function for you to build spreads, trade them, whether you trade them to watch or trade them, that you actually trade them, and then come and keep track of what your P&L is going to be. So a lot of neat features that are available as part of this. Now we're going to go back to our tab that has the contract that we selected. You're going to notice there is a little arrow here. So in this case, I can delete this and start over again, or I can copy this. So what the copy lets me do is compare two different spreads from the same month. And again, that's a whole separate video. We'll get into that, but very powerful way to simulate different scenarios for the same expiration. The other thing to keep in mind, you're going to see the words on these tabs are clickable, so you can move through the tabs. And then these three bars, we call them a hamburger. So you're going to click on these hamburgers in order to change settings or augment the settings to your liking on the individual views. We set them up to the place we think that are most useful and most beneficial, the defaults, right? But you'll be able to play with those once you get more comfortable and see what you think. Okay, so let's get started here. We're going to only cover the spread tab today. Just want to talk about building, and then we might talk a little bit about these lock, unlock, new, revert, and save. Those kind of make sense just in the names we've used. At least we hope they do, but I'll explain to you what's going on with those as soon as we build a spread. So first things first, let's get some options in there since we are an option-centric platform. So we're loading up the strikes. So here you'll see these colors. What do they mean? So this burnt orange is one standard deviation. So you see this snakes. It snakes. So if I were to grab this arrow and then grab this arrow and stretched it out to the left and to the right, everything would just sort of come together, and you would see it go 56, 57, 58, 59, etc., all the way to the right, and then you'd see it decreasing on the way. So it snakes like this. So I'm going like that on the downside and like this on the upside. Okay, so when you pull it apart, it's just one straight line of strikes. If I want more strikes, I could hit these double arrows and it'll take me over, and you'll see that these are outside. They're not colored white. They're colored white. There's no color on them, but that's because you have a one standard deviation range here in this burnt orange. This is the second standard deviation in this orange color, and then the yellow is the third standard deviation. So it's a nice way to get an idea of where you are from a from a distance from at the money, given the current volatility on this expiration and then the number of days to expiration. This is going to plot out the standard deviations for you so you can make a little bit of a more informed decision about what strikes you potentially want to use as part of the spread you're building. Now you'll notice when I'm hovering, as I move along the strikes, my information up top is going to change. So I'm on this strike, it's going to show me my vol, my delta, my call, and put value, put delta, and the other Greeks. Okay, so that's one way to know where you are from a delta standpoint. If you're looking to pick a particular price, that kind of thing, this is where that information is going to be as I hover along. You'll also notice I have arrows, blue and red, okay? Left side is calls, right side is puts, okay? So if I click a blue, it's going to add a call. If I click a red on the other side, it's going to subtract a put, okay? So that's one way to build a spread. I can clear this or I can invert it. So if I invert it, I'm going to get a plus here and a negative here. If I go back, it's going to do the same thing. I can clear it, I'm going to start over again. Another way to build a spread is if you use the smart builder. And the smart builder is, again, I'm going to go over it briefly just so you could play with it, is if you click a strike, it's going to do some work for you. So if I'm clicking below the at the money, I click that, it's going to put a put in there, okay? And if I click another put below there, it's going to say, hey, you're probably trying to build a put spread. So you notice how it says long put spread. Now, if I click that put again, it said, oh, I put 2 in there. It did a negative, so I'm probably doing a put ratio or put 1/2. So you can, once you get comfortable with things, you can start to build things more quickly just by clicking on the strike. So in this case, I built a call spread and I clicked that 58 again and do the 59, it built a butterfly. So that's the smart builder. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're playing with this. It'll be fun for you when you get comfortable. It's a really nice way to sort of get something out there very quickly. So let's just be real basic. Let's build a straddle. So I can build a straddle. A straddle is buying a call and a put in the same strike. So I could do that one of two ways. I can double click this strike and I got one of each because it's smart. It knows I'm on the straddle. In all likelihood, I'm on the at the money. In all likelihood, I'm going to build a straddle. So I can clear that. And another way we can do it is I can click the up arrow, and I built a straddle again. Okay, so let's just do it. I'm going to say okay. And now what you're going to see, we're going to come over here. It's going to say, hey, this is the premium that this thing costs. This is what you paid. So it's what you paid. It's going to be red. So that's outgoing money, total premium, right? So these are going to match for the most part. If there's any futures against this, there's not. And what's the P&L at this point? There isn't any. So I'm just going to run down this left-hand side here. So here's a summary of the trade, okay, or of the spread that you've built. And then you're going to see here's my options position. I have a call and a put. Here's the current volatility, same volatility because it's on the at the money strike. And then here's the premium associated with each of those. Now, say you want to do 6s in this spread, but you want to actually do 3s and 3s or whatever, 3.25s and 2.75s. If I come in here and type 3.0, hit enter key, it's going to recalculate the volatility for a 3.0 value. And if I come in here and say 3.0 here as well, it's going to recalculate and it should get me, a different volatility because specifically I'm not right on the 56.5 strike. I'm a little bit above it. Okay, so my calls are going to be in the money and my puts are going to be out of the money. So this really doesn't match from a premium standpoint in terms of where I am from a future price standpoint. So if I want to start over again, I can just get rid of that guy. Okay, and that yellow marked the fact that we've changed something on the screen. But if I want to go back to where I was on these, I can click this guy and unpin it, and it goes back to where it started. Okay, so you're going to see that pin get pushed in. That's going to say, hey, something changed in this box. You can unpin it by going back to where the spread started from a theoretical value standpoint for the QuikStrike information. Okay, so that's your option position. Then below you're going to see your Greeks, and then you're going to see a profit and loss here. The key thing to keep in mind here is this white and then this yellow section. So once I lock this trade, so that's where the lock comes into play, and then I can start playing around with the trade and I can see actually what a P&L might be. So let's keep these values here as they are, but let's lock it. Okay, well, let me go back, let me step back. So right now, if I change this and I make the future price go up, this is the analysis section. Okay, I can change anything over here. It's going to change the price, the Greeks, and the other information in this table, as well as this chart, as I make changes over here. So let me just go to the 57 point on the future, and you're gonna see my value changed here. Okay, and let's go in 5 days to 70 days to expiration, and we're gonna see that my value changed here. I had a little bit of decay. So now let's boost up that volatility, and you're gonna see my value didn't change all that much here, but my premium levels over here changed a little bit. Okay, so I can reset these. I can reset those individually, or I can just say, hey, I'm going to reset everything all together. So I can make changes. It's going to change where the prices are, where things are for the spread as I'm building it. Now, say I like a price. So I'm going to make this change to make it an even 6. Okay, I'm going to do that and hit enter. I have 6 there. I'm going to say, okay, I want to pay 6 for the straddle. So now I'm going to lock it. So if I lock it, that means it's locked. That means I traded it, quote unquote, traded it at 6. So now if I make some changes to volatility, if I say this is 30, okay, you're going to see it's going to start show a P&L. So you can simulate a trade by locking it, so you can start playing around with it and moving the analysis controls all over the place to see what happens with that trade. Okay, now if I unlock it, you see the P&L is going to still be there for now, but if I reset it, it's going to go back to normal. So I lost my leg P&L, that's fine because I unlocked it. I still have a QS, so if I have a little bit of difference between what's theoretically in the system and then here's to my settle, it's always going to show me a little bit of difference to the settle. But if you want to play with it, once you sort of come up with a price that you like, you can lock it, and then any kind of analysis you do over here is just it's gonna keep your premium where you paid it, but then it's going to change the premium to what the value is currently, so you can see what your P&L looks like with those changes. Okay, so that's sort of a quick little overview of building the spread. If you want to hedge something, you can click the future button, and it's going to tell you what your hedge is right now. And if I say okay, it will put that quantity in here, and now you have a straddle that's been hedged. Okay, so I'm gonna clear that future because we can go into that in more detail at some other time. So that is the majority of what goes on in the spread tab. So let's jump over here. So talked about lock and unlock. I can now save this. Okay, I can save it, and if I click this, watch this spread. Okay, it's named it for me. It's been smart about the name. Okay, and I say okay. Now, when I come back over here to my list, it's going to see here's my straddle, and I can edit it if I'm not or don't already have it edited. And if I come over to my watch button, you're going to see I did save my as a watch, and now it's going to show you over here, and this is just going to change in value all the time because I didn't lock it. If I locked it, then my P&L would change over here as time went by or as the market moved, etc. Here you see I locked the previous spread and I'm getting a P&L. Okay, so that is the save. I can clear things out here. Okay, if I say new spread, I can go to a new spread entirely and it'll take me back to the main window. Or I can say a new spread and keep the contracts, and that'll just clear things out, and I could start over here again with the June contract. Okay, so if I say just new, it's going to jump me back to here where I now start my selection process all over again. Okay, so that's a quick and dirty little introduction to the spread builder. There's lots more to cover. As you can see, lots of tabs and interesting features and functions that you can play with in order to really get a good view of what your spread or trade that you actually execute in the market is going to do over time and what the P&L looks like, that kind of thing. So stay tuned. This is going to be the introduction. We'll get more videos out there, and enjoy Spread Builder.